Hello, world. We are in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, the state of Pennsylvania, or Commonwealth. You might be aware, is a heavily contested, quote unquote, swing state in the 2024 presidential election. Are you excited by my introduction so far? I know I am. And what we're doing is basically just talking to random people about their thoughts on the election, their voting preferences. Do they plan to vote? Have they voted already? Do they not plan to vote? What are their feelings on Donald J. Trump, the Republican nominee, and Kamala Harris, the Democratic nominee? You may have heard of them. And yeah, that's what the agenda is for today, which is the final Sunday before the election. And as always, we're out doing a public service for all of you. You should be really appreciative of the sacrifices that we make on behalf of our nation and democracy and truth and justice. So, what's your name?
Al.
And what are your thoughts on the election? Are you going to vote? If so, for who?
I voted by mail.
Who did you vote for?
Kamala.
Oh, really? Yeah. And what was your reason?
A lot of reasons. I think she's more for the people. I think she'll do better for us. And I don't really want to go to the others, go somewhere else. But yeah, I think she's just more for people like me. Middle class people.
What's your line of work?
I've been working in technology for 30 years.
And what do you fear might happen if Trump were to win?
If Trump were to win, I think there's a lot of things that, as far as Social Security, I mean, who knows what you're reading is true, right? But there's a lot of things that I just don't like about his policies. I think women should have the right to do what they want with their own bodies. And I don't think the government should be involved in any of that.
How about foreign policy? So there's obviously been a war in the Middle East for the past year, war in Ukraine. I mean, do you think that? Do you have hope for how Kamala would conduct foreign policy given what's happened in the Biden administration?
I would hope so. I would hope so. They'd try to, calm things down, try to, stop all this. I'm not good at this, guys.
But
I'm doing terrible.
So what do you think is? Who do you think is going?
I'm not that much of a political person, to tell you.
So last question for you then: who do you think is going to win, regardless of who you want to win?
Jeez, that's a tough one. I think it's going to be close, and I don't know. Let's just say I hope Kamala wins. That's all I got to say.
Okay. So what is your name, ma'am?
Monica Allen.
And you were telling us that you've voted already.
Yes, I didn't want to go to vote because I'm concerned about picketers and all that stuff. This is a hard decision for everyone, and everyone who it's an easy decision for, that doesn't make sense, feels strongly about their side. And I feel strongly about my side.
And explain the basis for your strong feeling.
I guess I'm not far left or far right. Those are the people that concern me. The minute we lost Wade versus Roe.
Roe versus Wade.
Right, yeah. Women's rights. I was shocked. I mean, how can you say what a woman can and cannot do with their body? That really worried me about more things going on. I'm Democratic, obviously. We need more in the House and the Senate because if Republicans take it over, unfortunately, I'm not against Republicans, but the far right seems to be leading the Republican Party. And that concerns me, the rights for transgender, the rights for biracial marriage, for LGBTQ. I believe you can marry whoever. You can love who you feel strongly about. And I just don't think the government has a right to get into that.
So Trump has said, he's claimed that he would not sign into law a national abortion ban. Kamala Harris and the Democrats say that's not to be believed, but that's what his at least stated policy is. What do you make of that?
He wants it to be a state policy. To me, that's still government taking over what rights a woman has.
Because they haven't really been threatened all that much in Pennsylvania, right?
No, no. But what about the woman or the 12-year-old girl? There was one, I don't know what state.
This was in Texas, I think.
Yeah, incest. She was raped by her uncle, father, whatever it may be. And she could not get an abortion in her state. Does she have to bring up a child from, incestuous relationship? I just think if they're going to take it away, give it for people who need it medically, who are trying to get pregnant and may have to have a tubal pregnancy, have to get rid of it. Anyone who's been raped, anything like that, they need to at least give that.
Do you know a lot of people, maybe women in your age group or people that you socialize with, who have similar views as you on this, and that's like one of the primary factors motivating their vote?
It's a mixed bag. I mean, I have relatives who are definitely on the other side, and
You said this was a heavily Trump area in your perception, right?
If you go down my street, it's all Trump signs. It is overall. I can't say Phoenixville itself, because it is a young crowd and stuff like that. But I don't know a lot of people that believe in the way I believe. I think they're more or less either they don't care or they don't feel strongly. And I feel very strongly about certain things.
Do you approve of the way that Kamala Harris has run her campaign? Do you think she's done a good job?
Yes and no. I'm not saying Kamala Harris is like the best person to be there. I would love to see us vote for a vice president and a president separately. You vote. There are no parties whatsoever.
That used to be the case in the early American history, in like 1800.
I had a problem with Republicans, but it's so different now, and the world has changed since. I hate to say it, since Trump was there. It has separated so many people, and it's scary. I'm scared to see what's going to happen.
What scares you the most about what you think may happen if Trump were to win?
He'll never leave office. He wants to be king. He wants to be, there'll be no Congress. No, he wants to rule everything. He has said it. Look at what he wants to do on his first day. All these people who don't agree with him. He wants the army or any military to deal with them. What does that mean?
How would that work in practice? Like, would Trump abolish the 22nd Amendment? Because that requires that presidents only serve 2 terms.
He'll try. Just what he did when he said he won. And how long. He still says he won. And he didn't. I mean, I stayed up and saw the election. It all turned around. The first election, when he did win, it all turned around at the end. The second one, he didn't win. And he doesn't like when anyone disagrees with him. And I personally don't think he's a very good businessman.
So, finally, what do you think will happen? What's your gut feeling as to who will win? Regardless of what your preference is, which you've obviously been very clear about.
I don't know what my gut is. My gut is I'm scared if Trump wins. It's 50-50. I would like to see it go the other way, but there are so many people that believe in him and follow him. Vote Harris. I don't care if you're an independent Republican. I think she'll take control and put things where they need to be.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right, so we're here in Phoenixville. Encountered some non-voters because they're not legally eligible to vote in the United States, but they're here and they have observations on the election that I thought were interesting. So you were talking about how you're from Kenya, and you were kind of comparing and contrasting the election dynamics in Kenya versus here. Just to elaborate on that.
Yeah, like I was saying, it gets very tribal. So, people vote based on the tribes that they're from. And so you see some of those similarities here where, Republican, Democrat, and for the most part, let me not say for the most part, but a common theme is, when somebody goes to the voting booth, they're just going to go down checking Democrat or checking Republican, right? And I don't think they're considering all of the person's policies or they're looking into it. It's very much identity based and playing for your home team. And so that could kind of get a little dangerous. It's funny, you came and you asked the two non-citizens.
Yeah.
In a place full of American citizens, what do you guys think about well, we can't vote. He's from.
Hey, you're here. You've experienced it. You've absorbed it. So you might have some thoughts. Why not?
Yeah.
So how do you think? Have you followed the election closely enough to have a view on how it is that each party tries to play on these identity allegiances? Like, how did the Democrats do it, and how do the Republicans do it? Are there any differences between how they employ that tactic, as far as you could tell?
Yeah, sure. There are those. Like I said, it's more. Hey, you identify with this race or black. You're black, so you got to vote Democrat because they're looking out for your best interest. I don't really know that I've seen Republicans being like, vote Republican because you're white. I can't say I've seen that, so it wouldn't be.
Well, Trump does say if you're Jewish and you vote for the Democrats, you have to have your head examined. So they do their own slight version of it, you could say.
What do you mean by that?
He meant that Democrats don't support Israel enough, and that he would be much more assertive in his support of Israel. And then he assumes that Jewish voters place such a premium on the issue of Israel that they would be crazy essentially to vote for the Democrat as opposed to for him and the Republicans.
So he's saying that they're essentially voting against their own interests?
Yes, when it comes to Jewish voters, yes. But you're right that the Democrats kind of traditionally will say, and even Barack Obama was out recently sort of lecturing black men in particular for not being sufficiently supportive of Kamala Harris, and in so doing, betraying their collective interests.
Right. Yeah, so that's the thing that I'm saying is it's not. I'm trying to figure out the right words here. It's not in good faith, right? It's like, hey, you better vote this way because you're, melanated person. It's like, is that the only thing that is valuable about me as a person, right? I have so many more. There's so much more to my personhood than just this. So it kind of feels that type of thinking is what, Kamala says, we're not going back, right? And it's like, well, that type of thinking is what puts us back. Because now I can't see past this, right? There's so much more up here and in there, but I'm not allowed to express that because I'm just supposed to stop here.
So if you could vote, it sounds like you might have a preference for Trump over Kamala, or am I wrong-headed on that?
How'd you come to that conclusion?
Well, it's just an educated guess. I could be wrong, but just based on what you said so far, that you have doubts as to the Democratic campaign messaging, where they try to play on people's identity traits, and maybe the Republicans might be an alternative to that. But I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, like I said, when it comes down to the identity politics, it's very off-putting because, in Kenya, this was, I think, 2000.
Somebody just screamed my name.
Oh, you know that guy?
I have no idea who that was, but somebody screamed my name.
He might know you. Yeah.
That's a new one.
So we've seen.
Some guy in a pickup truck screamed out my name. He just screamed my name out. Mike Tracy. Mike. He screamed Mike Tracy. Is that what he screamed?
Mike Tracy. Yeah, he did.
I think so.
It
Am I
sounded-
trajecting?
Mike Tracy. That's what he said. Say Mike Tracy. Mike Tracy.
I guess I'm a big celebrity in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania.
But yeah, no. So I've seen that sort of mindset lead to a lot of violence. Like I said, in Kenya, some years back, 2007, I think, where the violence was out of hand. You know, people just aiming to brutalize other human beings just because they're from a different tribe. So I don't like that sort of rhetoric. I mean, there are people on the Democratic side that I really liked. Like Tulsi Gabbard was really awesome. I thought she was great. If I could vote, that's the person I would have voted for.
She's endorsing the Republicans now.
She is now, right? After being accused of being a Russian agent and all that stuff. So, yeah, that's the other thing that it's just a very ugly affair all around. Because you start saying one thing, and all of a sudden, the people with the loudest or the most powerful positions deem you to be something that you're not, right? This is a woman who served in the military, right? Did she serve two tours? I mean, in the was she in Iraq? Served 2 tours, was serving in Congress, right? She was representative of Hawaii, House Rep. And you get somebody who's held one of the highest positions, because Hillary was the secretary prior, right?
Secretary of State, yeah.
Secretary of State, accusing you of being a Russian agent just because she didn't like what you said about. She didn't like what Tulsi's criticisms against her with the warmongering and all that stuff. It's a very ugly affair. So it's off-putting, a lot of this stuff. You know, sometimes it's even, you hesitate to talk about it with strangers because you're always expecting people to take the worst version of what you're saying.
Yeah, and I sympathize with that apprehension. I try not to do that. So.
Yeah. So it's much easier to have these types of conversations with people you know, people that understand you, right? People that take what you're saying in good faith. Like, oh yeah, I know this guy. I know him. I've known him since we were young. I understand his perspectives. I understand his value systems. I understand why he's saying what he's saying. You say that to a stranger, like, oh, I'm supporting this person, and all these like preconceived notions are just projected to you. Like, oh wow, you must burn crosses at night. Like, what? How'd you come to that? Like, you know what I mean? So
Again, would you vote if you could, and if so, for whom in this election?
I would vote if I could. And out of the 2 choices, I would vote for Trump out of the 2 choices. But like I said, when Tulsi was running, if I could vote, that's the person I would have cast my vote for. I just think she's much more balanced in how she speaks. There's other people who are very well-spoken. I like that. I like a person who's able to go to different groups of people and understands how to speak to different groups of people and add nuance to the conversation. I really appreciate that.
Who do you think will win, regardless of your preference?
Oh man, I don't really. Maybe Trump might win, but there's certain things like there's this. They're betting, right?
Yeah.
They're betting on the votes now.
That's a huge market. Seems a little bit questionable to me.
Yeah, so like I opened my Robinhood and I seen like it's on the front page, on the home page. And I think right now Kamala is up.
I think Trump is slightly up right now.
Is he?
That's last I checked today.
What's the bottom numbers? There was like it was saying 68 million to like 59 million. Is that
I know when you convert it to percentage, the betting markets, last I checked as of this morning, it's like 53 Trump, 47 Harris, something like that.
53 Trump?
Likelihood to win, percentage likelihood to win, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It flip-flops, and so you're not sure, are these polls accurate? Are they not? I mean, during the time of Clinton and Trump, polls seemed one way and the outcome was another way. So it's kind of hard to tell. But
Are you a student here? Like, why are you in the U.S.?
I'm in the U.S. because my family came to the U.S.
Are you trying to get citizenship?
Yes. Yeah, I am. It's a great nation. We were just talking about that. He's contacting, I was just asking him about his friends back in Germany, and they're reaching out to him, and they're like, why are you over there? Why, you need to come back over here, blah, blah, blah.
This is the place to be.
It is. It's a great, 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 great nation. It's a wonderful place to be. It's not perfect by any means, but, I dare anyone to go and find the perfect country. And if you're in America and you're saying that place over there, that's the perfect place, ask yourself why you're not there, right?
A lot of people in the U.S. seem to promote the U.S. as the best country. That's why there's a lot of people with American flags draped in their houses and cars and things. So there's kind of an enthusiasm, I think, about the perceived superiority of the U.S. here.
It's ebbs and flows. There's times where it's like, America's the worst place ever. And then there's times where it's like, it's the best nation. It comes like that. Ebbs and flows. So,
What's your name?
Rodney.
And
Did you hear my name correctly?
Rodney?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go to Starbucks, I say Rodney, they say Riley, so I'm like...
No, I heard it loud and clear, I think. Nobody messes up Michael, thankfully, because it's the most common name in America.
Yeah, that
Yeah. And you live in Phoenixville or thereabouts?
No, I don't live in Phoenixville.
Where do you live?
Outside of Phoenixville.
All right. Well, thanks for chatting with us. Appreciate it. Yeah. So you guys clearly are in favor of Trump. See the Trump cowboy hat there? Why are you voting for Trump this time? Have you voted already, or are you going to go vote on Tuesday?
We are going to vote on Tuesday.
And what's your reasoning?
I love everything about Trump. Keep it.
Comedy, gas prices are out through the roof, or taxes are going out of control because everything's so expensive. But now our property taxes is jumping up. Like you can't afford to even live at your house. You're going to have to sell your house soon because you can't afford taxes, because everything's so expensive. It just snowballs, and the other person that's running against them is going to make it worse. It's just common sense. Trump is the man.
Did you vote for Trump the last two times?
I didn't the first time. I actually voted for Hillary the first time. The second time, I didn't vote for him. I mean, I did vote for him. And then I started thinking, maybe I shouldn't vote for him because every time I vote for somebody, they lose.
So it was like bad luck.
Yeah, but I'm definitely voting for him.
But we came in here for a couple things of groceries and spent $100.
Yeah, really.
What'd you buy just now that cost?
Bag. Some pasta, spaghetti sauce, and some cheese.
And a couple odds and ends.
Yeah, a couple odds and ends, but
It's over $100.
over $100. Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's out of control, and it's going to get worse.
And what concretely do you think that Trump or the Republicans could do to bring down the food prices?
The first thing is to get the gas prices down, because that when gas prices go up, it's going to cost more money to ship stuff and blah, 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 blah. It just snowballs. And so if you get that down, and then he has to start going after the companies to try to get them to start, lowering their prices, because it's going to be cheaper to run the factories. So hopefully that's, the key thing that's going to bring the prices down. So.
And what about in terms of internationally? Do you follow foreign policy at all? You have a war in the Middle East now, war in Eastern Europe. What do you think that? What would you want Trump to do differently?
He just has to get in the White House.
Build that wall. Build the wall.
No, I think just him being in the office is going to scare them people and set them straight. Because we have a, president that's afraid to do anything right now. And. With Trump in there, people are scared of him overseas, and they will start, listening to him, and hopefully the wars will stop. That's the main thing. But everybody's walking all over Biden because he's I don't want to say it, but
You can say it.
Yeah, he's a pussy.
And who do you think is going to win, regardless of who you want to win?
The way it looks. I'm sorry. Go ahead. The way it looks, when I see people out there and I see on the internet, and when I went to the thing over in Oaks for Trump,
What'd you go to in Oaks?
the town hall.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was really exciting. But
People were dropping like flies because it was so hot in there.
This was over the summer?
No, this was just
About a
last
month.
month.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, Trump was here in Oaks at the Oaks Convention Center over there.
But just the excitement of Trump, I've never seen anything like it in my life, and I'm 65 years old, and it's no way that he can lose unless they're pulling funny stuff, as you see already this week, what they're trying to do in Pennsylvania by stuffing the ballots from people from out of the state. So, you never know,
So you think if Trump does lose, or if he's declared to have lost, the only way that could happen is if there was some sort of fraud?
It has to be. It has to be. I can't see that Trump wouldn't, win. I mean, unless there's something going on. Right. I mean, I'm not just saying because of what happened to Trump last time, but just you could just see it. You can feel it.
It's going to be a tough race, especially when you have a woman that's running, plus she's mixed, and then you've got Trump, who people either hate him or they like him. But are they going to vote because she's a lady and it'll be the first woman and African American, I believe she is?
A lot of women are apparently wanting to vote for Kamala Harris because of the abortion issue, and they claim that Trump and the Republicans are going to ban abortion. Now, he says he wouldn't sign a law at the federal level that would curtail abortion, but people have their suspicions on that. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, being a victim of rape, that is something that I struggle with Trump, but that's the only thing. Now, there's got to be more to what he's saying as far as, women will be convicted and put in jail or...
That's all the other side saying that just to get people to vote against them.
Well, there are some states, not Pennsylvania, but other states that have imposed very restrictive abortion laws.
Yeah, they're pretty strict states. I guess they're mostly in the religion.
Yeah.
So,
Oklahoma, Texas, places like that.
yeah, well, that's, then
I don't believe in just killing an unborn baby, and I understand that maybe some women should be held accountable for, not being grown up and using your head and having protection and whatever. But if it's a rape situation or something bad like that, and then on the other flip side of that is, you have people having kids out here and they're out here trying to raise money with their posters and stuff. Stop having the kids. So it's a double-edged sword there.
yeah, it's I don't know, But what are you going to do? I mean, that's all they got to run for on the other side.
Yeah, that. From what I could tell, that's all the Democrats want to talk about.
Yeah, well, because that's all they got.
Now,
I mean, the
hopefully
past 3.5
Kennedy's-
years, you could tell they got nothing they could run on.
I see that Kennedy's running too, so hopefully he's
Yeah,
a
well,
Trump card, if you will.
Well, he dropped out and endorsed Trump.
Yeah, he's going to.
Right,
Big help.
but I have friends of mine who just voted, and they're like, "Oh, Biden, Biden, Biden." Oh, I voted for Kennedy. I'm like, "You're an idiot."
They voted for Kennedy even though he withdrew his campaign?
Yeah.
He's just throwing your vote away.
Okay. And where are you all from, Oaks?
Right down the street. Yeah.
Yeah, not too far.
And what are your names?
Kim and Michael.
Michael.
So you said you haven't really been following the election much at all. What do you know, to the extent that you know anything?
I know that there is Kamala Harris, and I know Donald Trump.
Yes.
I
And,
know the perfect pick.
and he knows who he would pick.
Who would you pick?
Kamala Harris.
Why is that?
I don't trust Trump. I just don't trust Trump. I've never trusted him.
What don't you like about Trump in particular? Like, was there anything he did when he was president the first time that you didn't like?
No, because I don't think I noticed anything yet.
You were young. You were just born.
How old are you?
9.
Okay, so you were just...
He was born in 2015.
Okay, so right at the end of Obama, and then Trump came in. And what do you like about Kamala, if anything?
I don't know. I just
You just like her as an alternative to Trump.
yes.
And you just haven't been following it?
I just haven't really been following. I didn't have any problems when Trump was in. I thought he was fine before, but I don't really know who's doing what this year, like who's, what everybody's talking about. I just really don't keep up.
Have you voted in the past?
I have not ever,
Never.
never in my life.
And why? You just don't think that there's enough at stake for you to...
It's not that. It's just, I just never have. I really never have. But if I had to pick one, I would go back with Trump. Really? Just because he did fine before. Like, I just think I would choose him. That's it.
And what do you think of Kamala Harris? I mean, to the extent that you've heard anything.
From what I don't, she just seems funny to me. Like, I don't know. Like, she just seems like a shoo-in. I kind of think, like, Donald knows what he's doing. He's been there. He's got experience with this stuff. I kind of think they're just trying to fit Kamala in for, like, she's a woman, she's this, she's that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just think if I had to choose, if you were, like, pick one right now, it would be Trump.
Well, they just switched Kamala into the nomination over Biden without her having even to get any votes in the primary. So you're sort of right in what you say.
Like, the world is like gung-ho on, get a woman and do this. I just think, they need to sit back and think, like, who really could run our country the best. And I would go with Trump. He was there, he's done it, and...
So do you think you will vote or you won't bother?
No. He might, if he could, but he can't because he's not old enough. But no, if I would, it would be for...
Who's he going to vote
I don't know yet, actually.
He hasn't told us.
for? Oh, really?
It's a big secret.
Very big.
Yeah. So,
Who do you think will win, regardless of who you would prefer?
Trump.
Why is that?
I don't know, because it seems like a lot of people are against him right now because they saw what he did the first time. But I still think Trump will win. Because I still think some people are like maybe skeptical about having a woman president. So I just think maybe Trump is going to do better. I like him. I would choose him.
Yeah.
My two cousins are picking for Trump because they told me that he made a song of, he said, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. I'm like, what? I'm like, huh?
Yeah, he sees the memes and stuff.
No,
Wait,
my
so-
cousin seen the meme. Jackson and Jacob, they seen the meme.
On like TikTok or something like that?
I don't know.
Yeah, probably YouTube or something. Yes.
And they're voting for Trump because they like the song.
I don't know. Probably not. Probably, and there's a probably not.
You hate both candidates, but you are going to vote.
Yes.
Why do you dislike both candidates?
They both have poor. Well, first, Kamala, she's already in the second position currently. So all the stuff she's going to do or whatever she says, why isn't it being done now? So, and the other guy, Trump, he doesn't take ownership of anything he says, and he's lots of lies here and there, but I think he's better for the people than her because she's in a position right now. We want change. Why are we going to stick with the same stuff that's going on?
Did you vote for Trump in the prior elections?
Yes.
Did you have the same attitude toward him then, or has it gotten worse or better?
Worse. I voted for him because I didn't think he could be bought because he had money, so you can't buy him. You can't do anything because he's got money. But
Now he goes around to the same sort of donors and what have you.
Yeah, so I mean it's changed. So they're both horrible, but there's only two choices.
And what do you think about the international situation? We have, big war in the Middle East, Eastern Europe. Do you think Trump would be an improvement for those situations?
I think you have to focus on our country. Stop giving all our money out to other countries. I know there's other stuff going on, reasons why you're giving it to them, but they should put that money into this country and the people here.
So you wouldn't want any more money to be given to Israel or Ukraine or anything like that?
No. Put it into the people here in the United States here. Help the people here.
Who do you think is going to win regardless of what your preference is?
No clue. It's a coin flip out there.
I agree with you. Where are you from?
Philadelphia originally, but I'm in Maryland now.
Okay. So you're voting in Maryland.
Yes.
And what's your name?
Brian.
All right. Really appreciate it. Thank you. So what are your thoughts on the election at this point?
I'm actually a little nervous, but I'm excited to be able to vote. And I'm really happy that my kids are voting as well. So I've been talking to them a lot about it. A little annoyed by all of the, text messages and reminders. However, I know it's necessary because some people still don't know what they're doing, which I don't even understand at this late in the game how you don't know what you're doing.
You'd be surprised how many people that we talk to who are undecided, don't know if they're going to vote. Like, why do you think that is?
Because people want a perfect candidate, number one, and people also don't understand the role of the president. They think the president is going to fix every problem that they have, but there's some responsibility on us as citizens as well.
So who are you voting for?
I'm voting for Kamala Harris. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because I think that she's concerned about all of the people. Don't get me wrong, I don't agree with every single thing that any candidate has to say or do, but I do feel as though her policies are going to cover the majority of the American people. I think that the landscape of America is very different, and I would like to make sure that every person is represented.
And what fears do you have, if any, about Trump getting back in?
Don't make me faint against this wall. Please don't make me faint, seriously. I'm a healthcare provider. So one of the things that concerns me is that his agenda does not include all the people. It doesn't include poor people. It doesn't include disenfranchised people. It doesn't include immigrants, people who are seeking to find a way to find citizenship in our country. Every last one of us are coming from somewhere else. The only people who've been here before are the people who are native to this land. Our people were imported. Some people came over as immigrants in all different kinds of ways, and I think that there should be a clear pathway for citizenship. And just to hear the rhetoric and the strong tones that he uses against people, I don't think that that's good for the country. I think that it promotes division, and I don't really want to be a part of that.
Do you think Kamala has run a good campaign?
I think she's done an excellent job, especially the amount of time that she had to even try to come up with policies that are similar to but still different than the job and the role that she has right now. So,
Like, what are some differences between her and Biden?
well, I think that Kamala is a little bit more liberal. Personally, I think that she's more liberal than he is.
In what areas?
I think that she's more liberal when it comes to just like people who are different. I don't think the Dr. Biden. I tell you, I work in healthcare. Everybody's a doctor, right?
That's the first lady.
No, exactly right. I think that that Biden, although he wanted to do a lot for different people, which I agree that he has done, I think that Kamala wants to take it a little bit further. That's all.
And what about foreign policy issues? Like, there's been a huge war in the Middle East for the past year, war in Eastern Europe. Do you think the Biden-Harris administration has done a good job with that stuff?
I think, from what I know, because again, you can't come to my job and tell me how to do my job. I'm not trying to tell the president or vice president how to do their job. What I do think is that they have done a good job. I think that they have been on the ground and they have been working really, really hard to bring peace to the nation. But it's not their responsibility to bring peace to foreign lands. It's their responsibility, in my respect, as Americans. Like, we are the holders of democracy. I think that democracy is done well here when we do it well. And I think that we should be the champions for democracy, definitely. But it's up to individual countries to figure out how to do it.
The U.S. does have responsibility when they send weapons to Israel, for example, or to Ukraine. So that's a matter of U.S. foreign policy. So that is something that is within the purview of the president.
I agree that that's within his purview, but I also feel as though he doesn't make peace happen. I don't think that any president of the United States is going to make peace happen somewhere else.
I did want to ask you, there's talk about how black men in particular are getting more supportive of Trump. Now, who knows whether that will turn out to be true. But you see some polling that might suggest that. He's making a lot of appeals to mostly black men, not so much black women. Have you observed that? I mean, what do you make of that?
I don't spend a lot of time around black men, not just because I work a lot and I'm home a lot or whatever, so I don't spend a lot of time around a variety of black men, I'll say it that way. But I've not spoken to any black man who's working for Donald Trump. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. And what do you think is going to happen? Who's going to win regardless of what you might prefer?
I'm going to win.
Okay. What's your name?
I'm Toni Joseph.
And where are you from?
I'm from Philadelphia.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
One time.
Hashimo Moody. And as far as the candidates go, I don't find any tangible things that they're going to be doing for my community, so I won't be voting for either one. I think that the country's been thoroughly divided, and we've been put in a state of choosing between a rattlesnake and a cobra.
And where are you guys from?
Delaware.
And you have a similar opinion?
Yeah, very similar. I mean, in light of Kamala, particularly, really most of the support was going to be going to Biden. So by default, she's there. So she's just kind of the lesser of the two evils as far as what I can see in this particular election.
So you don't plan to vote at all?
No, I don't.
Have you voted in the past?
I have voted. I voted for Obama. I voted for Clinton and other candidates. But really, honestly, after Obama's second term, I really honestly don't see any substantive difference no matter who's in office for myself particularly or my community. So that's
And where in Delaware are you from?
Wilmington.
And what do you expect to happen if Trump were to win?
I think it'll be similar to 2016. I think a lot of people are making him out to be this big bad wolf. But ultimately, when you're talking about the president, you're talking about a person who's literally just a figurehead. They don't really control what's really happening in the government. Most people really don't understand that. So I don't think it'll be any different than 2016 when he was president.
So some people will try to argue that Trump is such a massive threat that he's going to destroy democracy, that he's going to bring some kind of tyranny, that everybody needs to vote against him even if you don't support who he's running against necessarily. But you don't buy into that.
No, those are scare tactics, in my opinion. He doesn't have enough power to overthrow democracy. He's only going to be allowed to do what they tell him to do.
What do you think of that argument?
Yeah, I concur 100%. I mean, it's not like as if he's a monarch or a king and he can just decree a thing and it is. So it's only so much he's going to be able to do. And I do think a lot of the things that they're saying in media right now are simply scare tactics for whatever reason.
If you had to choose between the two of them, let's say gun to your head or hypothetically, who would you have a preference or no?
If I had to gun to my head, because of certain spiritual beliefs I have, I don't stand for abortion at all. I would just have to go Kamala on that basis.
Since you don't support
with Trump, I'm sorry, Trump. Yeah.
Gun to my head, I would have to go with Kamala, and that's because I believe Trump does have a whole lot of racist ties. I don't think it's a coincidence that every white supremacist and white nationalist group supports Trump. So they know who he is a lot better than a lot of us do. So being a black man in this country, I could not vote against my own personal interests to vote for somebody like him. Although I would not vote for Kamala either. so yeah. So.
All right. And what was your name?
Rahid.
What's your last name?
Moody.
Moody?
Moody, yeah.
All right, thanks, gentlemen. Really appreciate it. I'm voting the same way as you guys, meaning I'm not voting for either. So it was always refreshing to run into somebody with that same perspective. Oh, one more question. So in terms of foreign policy, obviously we have a major war in the Middle East that's been going for a year, war in Ukraine. What do you see as the Biden-Harris record being in those areas? And do you think Trump would be an improvement? Would he be even worse? What do you make of that?
Trump has more experience than Kamala Harris, but from what I've seen of him, he's very keen on war and throwing his power around. So I wouldn't necessarily feel safe with him simply because of that. I think we would definitely be in a lot more wars with him than under Kamala.
What do you think? I kind of think the opposite, just because he has such a tough bearing and image. I think it would be a deterrent to a lot of other countries in terms of war. Although, again, presidents, by and large, are figureheads and their strings are being pulled from other places. So that really will determine what happens. But just going on the surface, I think he's actually a deterrent against war.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. All right. Have a good evening.
You too.
All right, take care.
Thanks for watching this clip from System Update, our live show that airs every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern exclusively on Rumble. You can catch the full nightly shows live or view the backlog of episodes for free on our Rumble page. You can also find full episodes the morning after they air across all major podcasting platforms, including Spotify and Apple. All the information you need is linked below. We hope to see you there.